How you doing, folks? This is Tim Attitude2, OutstandingPoker.com. I'm back with another video here. I'm playing $1, $2 blinds on Party Poker. I just recorded this session last night, so it's pretty fresh, and I've been meaning to get a good, solid session at sort of the, I guess, upper small stakes level, which I would consider 1-2 at. I know a lot of people are trying to break into the 50 cent a dollar or the $1-2 limits, and they're curious what sort of adjustments you need to make and how the regulars are playing and that sort of thing. So I figured this is a good stake level to make the video at. So I've recorded the session last night. It's pretty fresh. I got about a good a very good sample of footage, so I'm going to be able to make a bunch of videos, which is great because I've been pretty busy lately and haven't had a chance. So I think I got some good footage in here. So I loaded up eventually 4 tables, and I'm just going to jump into the action. The next two will pop up. I just started the session, so played I guess I don't know, 8 hands or something here on the left table and 10 hands here on the right table. Um, and I guess this is the first interesting hand that I got into. So without further ado, I guess what happened is, uh, yeah. So Muhaha, I was playing heads up with him to start the table. He and just on a quick note about heads up, I think it's great if you guys start learning heads up. I think it's probably the best way to improve your game. Like if you really want to uh, just be constantly put in interesting spots that you have to do some interesting analysis on and building ranges of both yourself and your opponent and how you react to his range and how you think he's reacting to your range. Heads up is definitely going to be the quickest way to improve your game, I would say. So uh, my advice would be don't shy away from heads up and maybe even just play at some lower stakes than what you're used to if you don't want to lose if you're afraid of losing money very quickly because the variance is high playing heads up. But even just jump down a few stakes and play some heads up. It's a great way to improve your game, as well as you can then if once you get a little bit comfortable at it, you can start tables at your regular stakes, and oftentimes you'll be playing against weaker players. If you can find a weak player heads up, it's often very easy to kind of print money against them. So definitely recommend it. So I was starting here, starting a table here. So I don't have a read on this guy. I guess I've played 8 hands with him. I'm not sure whether he's multi-tabling or not. So he raised pre-flop. I called, smooth called, and then I believe I check called the flop with my nut flush draw. Reason I check called both check call and check raise are valid options on the flop when he continuation bets. Um, but I check call because I have some showdown value with ace high, and then my hand is very deceptive if I do hit my flush on the turn or the river. And I can oftentimes check call or check raise the turn if I miss. So it's kind of a deceptive way to play it. And if he checks behind on the turn, then a lot of times my ace high is good anyway. So I can just check the river if the turn went check and take it down anyway, or potentially hit my heart on the river and check raise or whatever. So I decided to check call. You can also check raise, like I said. It depends on sort of how you want to build your ranges, but I think check call is a fine way to do it. So I hit my flush on the turn and I checked again, let him continue bluffing. So now the question is, do I want to check raise or check call again? And I figured if he's betting here and I hold the ace of hearts, and there's a good chance that he's bluffing because most players will, if he has, say, something like the eight of hearts or even the ten of hearts or even the king of hearts, a lot of players, it'll come down to your read, but a lot of players in general just won't bet anything but the ace of hearts in his spot here. Given that I hold it, that means that he can't hold it, so I would say readless against a guy, there's a good chance he's just bluffing. So I decided I think the best play is probably just to check call again. If you're playing the guy who has a solid read on you, or you're playing him often, you don't want to be transparent in uh, with the fact that you can never check raise here because you'd always be check calling the nut flush. But I mean that's another a topic for another day of just being balanced against players who you know. But given that I've never played this guy in my life, and neither of us have reads on each other, I think check call here is a fine way to play it. I don't fault check raising either if you want to build that into your game plan, but just have a reason for it. So I'm going to let the footage run, and so I check called, and just hopefully we'll get him to bluff off again on the river. Now the oops, I paused it a second too late, but I think it was pretty clear that I was going to probably win this one. But if he bet again on the river, his bet would make no sense whatsoever. Yeah, it really would make no sense because if he bets on the river, he's representing. Um, well, he could, if he was betting thin, maybe a king high flush, but uh, if he had two pair or a set on the turn, he would have checked behind because he's only